expressed in the following program are those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of Real TV, its affiliates, or sponsors.
To all of our local, regional and international viewers, thank you kindly for choosing us here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. And of course, we encourage you to stick and stay with us, ultimate in programming. My dear friends, a very warm welcome to another edition of the program, Conversations with Zelisa, where we continue to inform, educate, empower and answer those unanswered questions. I am Zelisa Rupani, humbly inviting you to sit back, relax, enjoy. Get your pen, get your notebook, Real TV, so you can take notes and important numbers that will be helpful for you and your loved ones. Directing this morning and in Master Control, we've got with us Mr. Robert Batiste. He's also our senior producer here at Real TV and blessing us with his presence this morning. We missed you last week. Why we missed him? It's because on Holy Thursday he celebrated his birthday. However, today is Tuesday, the 7th of April, 2026. And if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you and yours. That's someone special. Tomorrow is not promised. And so it doesn't matter whether Robert celebrated his birthday last week, Thursday, Holy Thursday, we are going to send out greetings. Robert, happy. I believe we had something surprise for you, okay? I'm not sure if Nikki is there, but I still want to send it out. Did you receive it? Yeah. Okay. So we're certainly going to do that before the show is ended, right? I need to have that in place. But I would like to take the opportunity, Robert, to let you know that I do appreciate you. You are extremely important here at Real TV, a very important role that you play. You are respected, you're admired, and I appreciate you very, very much. You are what I would call a good team player. Your heart and soul is here. And I know we would have had many conversations here and internationally when we were abroad as well, doing different things of visions. And I want you to know that you are part of that. I want you to know and understand that I know that you are in it. You put your all in. I know that we together in this company would have had rough waters, but our season is here and we are going forward. We're persevering in full force, with gratitude for God. And may God continue to bless you richly. You are very talented. I feel one of these days I need to bring you on Conversation so that people will know the strength and the production work that you've been doing over the years. I mean, he's fantastic and he's gifted in so many ways. But one of the things that really would set Robert apart is how humble he is. His soul is one that is caring, nurturing, and giving. And what I also like, and that is very transparent without a doubt, your honesty. And that is one of the things that I would admire. You know, I always tell people it's not what your friends, family, or even your staff members do in front of your face. It's what happens when you're not here behind your back. And that is how you know when people are loyal and people give their all and they're caring and their heart and soul is where it's at. And I want to thank you for being the unique person that you are. So coming from all of us here at Real TV, we extend our gratitude and happiest birthday and all of God's choicest and richest blessings. Yeah. Today is also World Health Day, if my memory serves me well. And I do believe we have a flyer for that, Robert. Yeah, it's World Health Day. And let us champion wellness, strengthen healthcare, and work towards a healthier future for all. And we extend that to all. All right? Thank you so much for that. Do we have our quote for today, Robert? It's up to you today to start making healthy choices. Not choices that are just healthy for your body, but healthy for your mind. And really healthy, being healthy is within. Taking charge of what is within, the choices that we make with the food that we eat, you know, when we do things in moderation. So let's start making healthy choices for a better tomorrow. Thank you so much. Let's quickly go to our quote for today. And that came to us with the kind compliments of Fab India Expo. Let's go to their ad, please. Thank you.
Fab India Expo would like to wish all our valued customers a blessed Ramadan 2026. We are now open with a complete change of stock located opposite Medford gas station Shagwanas, featuring brand new styles and the latest products straight out of India. Shop from a wide variety of clothing, accessories and special booths catering for all your e-shopping needs. Plus, don't miss out on our full-size Indian food court with delicious meals and treats for everyone. Come visit us at the Fab India Expo, conveniently located opposite the Medford gas station in Shagwanas. Fab India Expo, your one-stop destination for Ramadan and e-shopping. We can't wait to see you.
To all of our local, regional and international viewers, we thank you kindly for choosing us here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. To those of you on Tego, the app, remember to tell your friends to download it on your device so you could take Real TV with you real time, anytime, and be part of our dynamic programming, because knowledge is power, all right? And of course, to those of you in Canada and the Caribbean, Showtime Television, we thank you so much for choosing us as well, allowing us to influence you in a positive way, add value. Speaking of positivity and value, I'm in conversation with two gentlemen who, when you talk about value and giving of soul and giving of all back, I'm speaking of no other than Mr. Swain Leo Hussein and Mr. Limaniel Williams. And gentlemen, good morning. They are joining us. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Now, I think for our viewers near and far, perhaps you could tell us which location you're in, and also introduce yourselves and your titles, because I know when it comes to pathology and things like that. So, if you could enlighten us and help us there, that would be wonderful.
Not a problem. Lemuel, would you go first?
Sure.
Good morning. So my name is Lemuel William. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, board certified traumatologist, and I'm a director of the Green Cross Center for Traumatology in Trinidad and Tobago. I've worked with trauma care, crisis response, humanitarian deployments for about 15 years, supporting individuals, families, and responders in the aftermath of disasters and critical incidents, along with being in my office and seeing with them individually, families, individuals, couples, and so on. So, just a lot of trauma, a lot of crisis work.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Swain?
All right, my turn. So my name's Swain Leo Hussein Kadogan. I am a forensic psychologist with the Northwest Regional Health Authority in Trinidad and Tobago. So I operate my usual day job out at St. Anne's Hospital. I have been doing that for the last 12 years or so.
12 years. So we have two gentlemen that are very trained and certified, and when it comes to trauma, can I get a proper definition, gentlemen, of what exactly is trauma? Because today we're going to be, we're going to be talking about the humanitarian assistance in action, where you're going to give us real stories, real life, right, on the field, first-hand experiences. But for the benefit of our viewers near and far, perhaps you could define someone being traumatized? Because when you think of traumatized, you think of alarming, you think of shock, you think of, could you give us a proper definition, please, gentlemen?
Sure. Lemby, you want to go first?
Of course. So, trauma, pretty much, in its layman's terms, trauma is the body and the mind's response to an overwhelming experience, something that feels too much, too fast, or too frightening for a person to process at the time. So it's pretty much what happens when we become overwhelmed and our ability to cope in that moment is impacted negatively. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we behave, and even how our body responds long after an event is over. All right? And so, there's physical trauma, we're familiar with that, physical injuries, illnesses, accidents, and so on. So then there's mental and emotional trauma as well. So it's almost like akin to damage to our ability to feel and cope and to think and process through things. Now, it's important to know that two people could go through the same event and have very different responses, right? Not everyone is traumatized. Not everything causes trauma. So trauma is not necessarily defined just by the event alone, but it's defined by how the event is experienced internally by the individuals operating within it. Does that make sense?
So we have 5 fingers, none are the same. It's the same as individuals. Trauma impacts, or we relate it in different ways. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are going to go for a quick break, taking some important messages. When we return, we continue our conversation. And today we're talking about the humanitarian side of assistance in action, and you'll probably elaborate on that when we return. And we're going to be starting our conversation, really continuing on real stories, real situations, yeah? Thank you, gentlemen. Let's go to these important messages. Please stay with us.
Macon Construction Company Limited. Save big whilst building stronger. We build with our Macon innovative building systems, which provides high wind speed, earthquake, sea blast and fire resistance, is thermally and acoustically insulated, provides improved construction timelines and cost savings. We provide construction services from design to finish and everything in between. Macon Construction Company Limited. Building green today with tomorrow's technology. Contact or visit us today.
Are you looking for the right space for your business? Fred's Plaza has the space you need. We offer professional rental spaces designed for growing businesses. Conveniently located in San Juan on the Eastern Main Road, opposite the PTSC terminal and between Royal Castle and Mario's. Easy access, high visibility. For inquiries, call or WhatsApp 868-384-7142 today, or visit Level 3 Fred's Plaza for details.
Ready to take your sales career to the next level? If you have a passion for connecting with clients, building meaningful relationships, and delivering results, we want you on our team. Join a dynamic, motivated environment where your experience matters, your ideas are valued, and your drive defines your success. Step into a role with real opportunity. Join the sales team at Real TV, where your future begins.
Call us today at 292-6470 or WhatsApp us at 384-7142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Naka, introducing to you Bridging the Gap, where we touch on current affairs and social issues every Monday to Thursday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., right here on Real TV.
fine style. I didn't get the details just yet, but I'm sure you had a wonderful day because, you know, you have beautiful people. You're surrounded by friends and family that all cherish you. So I'm sure, you know, but today is our day, right? We get to celebrate with you today. Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Today I'm in conversation with two gentlemen, strengths in every way, and today they are here to talk about the humanitarian assistance in action and real stories from the field. Gentlemen, welcome back and thank you so much for joining us, taking time off your busy schedule. And for those who are wondering why they're not here live in studio, you can understand the importance of their job and not being able to be as flexible, but rather very committed to what they're doing, and they're doing it in their respective offices on location. So we are very grateful that you're taking the time from, you know, your busy schedule to educate us about what you do and how you do it best, how you save lives. Now, people might say, what's she talking about, saving lives? But when somebody is traumatized, or somebody that is in pain or hurt or in a situation where they're simply not healthy and they're not happy, getting the right people like these gentlemen to intervene can make them whole again. And that's how important their jobs or their role is in society. Gentlemen, welcome back. Yes?
Thank you.
I believe, yes. Humanitarian assistance in action. Could you give us a little insight into that, please?
Sure.
Sure, please, sir. Go right ahead. Hello?
Hi, yes.
Yes, welcome back.
Okay, I'm only hearing your side. I'm not hearing Lemuel, so I don't know if he's answering or when.
Oh, are you hearing me now, sir?
I'm hearing you just fine, but I can't hear Lemuel's feet.
Oh, you're not hearing.
So I don't know if I don't know if he's answering, and I don't want to speak over it.
Understood. All right. So perhaps, sir, you could perhaps answer and give us some insight, please.
Not a problem. So as Lemon have mentioned before, trauma affects each individual differently. But when we have things like catastrophe, where we have natural disasters, take for instance the hurricane that hit Jamaica recently.
Right.
We're not just dealing with the traumatized individual, we're dealing with the collective trauma.
Right.
So it has impacted the village, the community, the nation on a whole.
Yes.
And so you're going to have this ripple effect going through, starting with the individual and spreading out through the wider community. And with trauma, what makes it traumatic is that our basic coping mechanisms cannot compete. It just can't manage. And when you look at this on a wider scale, there are coping mechanisms that the communities rely on. Things like school, church, just even your Sunday morning marketplace where we meet and we gather. These things are now unavailable.
Right.
So you have this collective sense of helplessness and feeling overwhelmed. And so traumatologists such as Lemuel and myself, we are going in to try to assist with managing the immediate survival. So for example, as an individual, if you've been traumatized, you can go to a counselor, you can get counseling, but that's a process that takes time. So you may have multiple sessions spanning weeks, months, sometimes even years that you get to process. But in a disaster, in a crisis setting, we're not there to do therapy really. We're doing psychological first aid. And just like when you have medical first aid, it's not surgery, it's not, an ongoing doctor's visit. It's an immediate on-site thing to triage and ensure your survival. So you can then go off and get long-term care. And that's what we're doing as traumatologists, psychological triage and first aid. We want to help people to survive the immediate situation, and then we are helping to bridge that gap so they can then get long-term care, not necessarily from us, but it's meeting them in the moment and helping them survive this moment.
So you're talking about having that initial intervention, one-on-one, and then you have them in a routine, or as you say, there are people that would do counseling for years because of the different way that we deal and cope with things, coping mechanisms, yeah?
Correct. What we're doing in the field in the moment is triage. We're applying that first aid to make sure you survive this moment.
Yeah.
And the long-term resilience and care and treatment can come after.
So that initial, that one-on-one, that first intervention is also very crucial. I'm sure it's very delicate as well.
Correct. It's not always one-on-one. Sometimes you can do it in a group setting. Sometimes the sheer numbers require you to do that. So we're never responding alone, and Lemuel can tell you a lot more about in-field action. Traumatologists are responding as a team, and that team is part of a wider response. So you're always following the chain of commands. You're operating within the destination's settings. You're under their command, that sort of thing. But within the team, usually some people require one-on-one assistance, some people require groups. It's really what is needed at the time, and we have to adapt in field accordingly.
Now, perhaps you could give us you give us a very good example with regards to Jamaica. So now we're talking, when you speak about country or community or village, school, there could be something that alarming happens in the school, and all the children in the school in that environment are traumatized. Those are different scenarios, yeah?
Yes.
You talk
so
about...
they may be all affected by the exact same event, but each individual will be impacted differently by that event.
Right. Now, there's no hidden secret that crime is alarming, right? You may go to the supermarket and have to witness somebody being shot or held up, or you go to buy food. I'm just saying, anywhere the scenario is, and you could be not directly but indirectly seeing somebody being killed or somebody being shot or held up, and that could be very traumatizing as well.
That can be, yes. Right. That is also a form of trauma.
They are children.
So yes, you may not be the one directly in the line of fire, but seeing a loved one held at gunpoint, seeing even a stranger next to you held at gunpoint, you can be overwhelmed with that sense of helplessness and even feel as if your life could now be in danger because of that. So that is traumatizing, very much so.
Yeah. Now, there are other scenarios with regards to, let us now talk about in the home setting, where children now are open and they're constantly seeing a father beating a woman, or a lot of dispute and quarrel and confusion, and you understand what I'm saying? And those children now, that is another form of being traumatized.
Correct. Yes. And so they're seeing a loved one being battered or brutalized or abused in some way, shape, or form. That is going to affect them. That is going to be a trauma that they are now taking on and they're experiencing.
This is a program conversation. Sorry, sir. What we're going to do, we're just going to take a quick break. I know that my director is trying to sort out a little audio problem here. During that break, we'll make sure and try to get the audio situation sorted. Thank you so much for understanding. This is a program, Conversations with Zelisa. Let's go to this break. When we return, we continue our conversation, and we're talking about different scenarios and situations when it comes to being traumatized and how we get that intervention in people with such strengths as our guests today. How they help, what they can do to get you on the road to feeling whole again, to a quick recovery. Yeah? Let's go to these important messages. Stay with us.
Need a space to record your podcast, interview, or video content? Our fully equipped studio is available for rental, perfect for productions of all kinds. Enjoy a professional studio setting, quality lighting, and a comfortable environment designed for smooth, high-quality productions. Call or WhatsApp today to book your studio time.
Ladies and gentlemen, young people, senior citizens, it is my pleasure and privilege to invite you to look at the program Inspired on Real TV at 2 p.m. every Wednesday afternoon. Inspired is designed to lift your spirits, to help you overcome depression and failure so you could be an outstanding, extraordinary success. We have special experts every Wednesday who will inspire you to do better, to be your best self. So may God bless you. And remember, every Wednesday at 2 p.m., please look out for the program Inspire.
Are you ready to kickstart your career? It's time to be your own boss. Present your own ideas, control your own narrative, allow yourself to be seen, allow your voice to be heard. Host your show with us at Real TV. Call us today at 292-6470 or WhatsApp us at 384-7142. You can also send an email to realtv.corporate@gmail.com.
I am Enrique.
And I am Alicia.
And this is Voices of the People,
where Trinbago speaks.
Follow us every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m.
where we give you, the people,
a voice. Right here on Real TV.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you, to all of our local, regional, international viewers. Thank you so much for choosing us. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Swain Lee Hussein and Mr. Lemuel Williams. And today they're talking to us about humanitarian assistance in action, real stories from the field. So they would have had experiences, and I always say experience combined with knowledge. It's a beautiful blend of getting a great teacher. So we're getting first-hand experiences and, of course, the responses on how they deal and cope, or how to deal and cope. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hi.
I believe just before the break, Mr. Lemuel, you were about to share some important information with us. Can you please, sir?
Yeah, of course. I was just going to piggyback off of the question about children and families and trauma, right? Because, of course, trauma within the home, especially involving violence, is one of the most impactful forms of trauma, right? Because the home is supposed to be a place of safety. You know, we all have that sense that when that space becomes unsafe, it's not just affecting them in the moment, it affects how a child or a family understands safety, trust, and relationships on a whole, right? So even when you pivot out to the entire community, and before you were talking about with violence and crime and such, all of those individuals, either the perpetrators or the people being victims of it, are also part of families within homes. And so if there's also violence within the homes, like they kind of work, it's like Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. It's a cycle that feeds itself, you know. And particularly when you look at children, they are the most vulnerable because they're still developing psychologically, emotionally. And so being exposed to that, whether directly or even just witnessing them, their systems are always in a constant state of alert, you know, so a lot of anxiety or aggression, they might start to display themselves, or even in school, problems concentrating or learning or replicating the things that they see at home in their own schools and in communities, and, you know, so, and it's important that we know children don't really always have the language to say, hey, I'm traumatized, hey, I have a problem. They really show a lot of what's going on with them through their behavior, right? And so just kind of wanted to expound on that a bit.
Yeah, when we talk about violence, especially in the homes, we don't even have to go far. You fall in love with someone, you want to spend the rest of your life, you make the commitment perhaps of marriage, and it's only after, the dust is settled, the honeymoon is over, and real life happens, you perhaps see somebody in a different light. The person that you fell in love with is a completely different person that you're living with. And you're traumatized because of perhaps they start using profanity or drinking or different things that becomes a burden or problems in the marriage. And or you receive a slap and you don't know where that came from. It never happened before. You never saw the red flags. You never knew. You follow, and then you're traumatized in that relationship as well. So there's so many different aspects and dimensions of being traumatized.
Yeah, and you know, even with that, talking about intimate partner violence, right? Like, it's back to a situation where there's a environment that's supposed to have safety and trust and care. And, you know, anybody that falls in love with somebody, we love love. You know, we pay so much money on love, right? The last thing we think is that love is going to hurt us, you know. But also, that violence too is important. It's not just about physical, you know. A lot of people think that the violence is it's just like beating on them, but it could be emotional or psychological or financial, right? Controlling in nature, right? Or using the kids against each other, isolating from friends and family. But over time, it always impacts how a person sees themselves and their sense of worth and the ability to make decisions. You know?
Those are brilliant points that you're raising with regards to, you're correct. You realize that, you have a wake-up call to realize, but this is not the same person I married, because now this person is saying, hey, you need to hand me the check. When you talk about financial, I am now doing all the purchases, I am now paying, but you give me your, that kind of thing could also be, so you're correct. It's not just physical, but it's also mental, it's also verbal. This person would say, I love you, or darling, or doo-doo darling, or sweetheart, or babe, or whatever, and now this person is greeting you with a cuss. It's traumatizing, one extreme to the next. How do you deal? How do you cope? What are the red flags? How do we get help? Early intervention kind of thing.
Well, oftentimes people think that you hear people say, you know what, I should just leave and this and that, but leaving isn't always as simple as you think. It's very complex, right? Like emotional, psychological, and it's a practical process. Lots of practical things. How would I support myself and take care of the kids and not uproot their life, and or where they will find me, no matter how much I leave, they might find me back. But that anxiety and that fear, that hypervigilance, it causes people to become reactive. And also, the thing about trauma, it impacts our brain's ability to make sound decisions and judgments. Like the cortisol, the hormone, the stress hormone, it actually creates pockets of inactivity in our brains the more that is present. And so, how you get hope? Well, the first thing is realizing that there is support. For any of the traumas that we go through, there's support. There are folks like either me or myself, or therapists out in the community, or agencies, domestic violence shelters, or um, community advocacy groups, but pretty much no one has to navigate situations alone. So we first need to find safe spaces and safe relationships, trusted individuals, professionals, so that we could always provide a pathway to something different. So that's the first part. First thing, safety. Right. After that, once safety is established, then we start looking at the areas in life that have been impacted and how we could bring resources and resiliency back to each of those areas. But of course, everything might sound structured when we describe it and talk about it, but the reality is that things in the moment or on the ground often very different, because again, life is not so black and white. It's very gray. We have a lot of things, but whatever we do, we work with individuals and we work within communities to help bring stabilization. And that's just helping people regulate, orient, and regain a sense of control in what is usually a very chaotic and overwhelming environment. Right? And that's things like psychological first aid come in handy. It's very simple, practical, distress relieving. But we also want to make sure that we have people take full control of their choices. I usually boil it down to trauma is the removal of choice. We could be in two situations. One person feels they have out and they have power, they have choice, and the other person feels powerless. So the higher degree of the powerlessness is the higher degree of the potential traumatization. Yeah. And so helping instill power and choice and control back into the individual, into the families, into the environment, the communities. That's what really helps the most.
One of the scenarios perhaps that I think also should be addressed is being traumatized of losing somebody very close to you, whether it's a divorce, a separation, or as drastic as a death. That could be quite traumatizing because, you kiss somebody goodbye, send them to work or send them to school, and they never return alive. That's the last. Via accident or whatever reason, health concerns or whatever, you may be very well be in a situation where you are aware that somebody is sick. It's inevitable. We all know we are going to die. But accepting the fact that it's final, it's finished, it's over with. Those are things that I also feel needs to be addressed, because you could be existing, not accepting. You're still very traumatized over this whole situation, especially if you were closely knitted to this person.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, loss and grief, very deeply connected to trauma, right? Especially if it's like a sudden loss or unexpected, overwhelming. Because in those moments, it's not just that someone has died, right? It's that their entire sense of normalcy and stability has been disrupted at the same time. And so grief, especially in the context of trauma, tends to feel a lot more intense and more confusing and sometimes even harder to process, And so now, of course, grief on its own is a natural human process. We want to normalize grief. It is healthy. It needs to happen, right? But when trauma is involved, though, it complicates that process. And it stops people from moving through that grief gradually, and they get stuck.
And that's where you realize you need people like your good selves to have that intervention to help you to cope, because you have to find some level of coping. You have to get back to reality, because you have to live with the fact that this person is no longer in your life anymore. Whether, as we say, whether it's by death or whether it's by separation or divorce, it's how do you cope? How do you live? How do you move on? Some people have the ability, it's natural. They get up and go again and life continues to exist. And some people, you just can't. You just don't know how to. You live in a lie. You're living in pain. You're unhappy. And when you are unhappy, the people that are around you are also very unhappy.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's important. right? That we know that grief is complicated by trauma, yes, but healing is always possible, right?
I like that.
And like you're saying,
I like
yeah,
that.
support, connection, a space to process. We offer like even grief groups and trainings, for individuals and for people who work with people. But like we just want to help people make sense of what they've lost gradually to rebuild stability, and to avoid like that disconnection, they're becoming disconnected from people, or that they're not able to cope and deal with things, and they're just overwhelmed all the time. Like that is where, yes, you really need to seek help and get help. And there is help. There is a way out. It can, and just have hope.
Great. This is the program Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. Let's go to these important messages. When we return, we continue our conversation. Stay with us.
I'm Enrique.
And I am Alicia.
And this is Voices of the People,
where Trinbago speaks.
Follow us every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m.
where we give you, the people,
a voice. Right here on Real TV.
When security matters most, choose Catch Security Services Limited. We are proudly approved by the Ministry of Homeland Security. We protect your home, business, community, and much more. Our services include professional baton and armed officers, specialized K-9 units, mobile patrols, secure cash pickups, secure transport, and pepper spray applications and supply coming soon. Don't wait. Secure your assets now. Contact Catch Security today. Call 622-6601, email info@cssl-tt.com, or visit our office at 30-32, Saddle Road, Maraval.
Fab India Expo would like to wish all our valued customers a blessed Ramadan 2026. We are pleased to announce that the Fab India Expo will be reopening on Friday, February 27th, located opposite Medford Gas Station, Chaguanas, with a complete change of stock. Explore brand new styles and the latest products coming directly out of India. We will also have special booths catering for each shopping, plus a full-size Indian food court with something for everyone. Visit us at the Fab India Expo, located opposite Medford Gas Station, Chaguanas. Opening on Friday, February 27th. Fab India Expo, your one-stop destination for Ramadan and Eid shopping. We can't wait to see you.
I am Walter Stewart, President of the Trinidad and Tobago National Council of Parent-Teacher Associations Incorporated. Join us every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Real TV, where we look at NPTA Speaks, National Parent Teacher Association Speaks, on topical and relevant issues pertaining to parents, teachers, education, and students of Trinidad and Tobago. This, of course, encapsulates local, regional, and international audiences every Thursday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Real TV, NPTA Speaks.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zelisa right here on Real TV, where we bring reality to you. To all of our local, regional, and international viewers, thank you so much for choosing us. Those of you on Tego, the app, those of you in Canada, we thank you for allowing us into your space so that we could add value. Knowledge is power. Speaking of knowledge, I am in conversation with two quite competent and knowledgeable gentlemen, sons of the soil, and that is Mr. Swain Leo Hussein and Mr. Lemuel Williams. And today they are talking to us about assistance, getting that intervention to get help, especially when it comes to trauma, when it comes to dealing and coping with issues that you've never anticipated that would come your way, the storm that you find yourself in, the challenges that you find yourself that you didn't expect, but it happens. How do you deal? How do you cope? How do you get out? Gentlemen, welcome back. Now, I know you both would have described different situations when it comes to being traumatized, right? And we could understand that. But could you give us some sort of guidance as to what should be the first step, or the first steps rather, that we should take? Or we on the outside, seeing or knowing that someone is traumatized because of a situation, what do we do? How do we get help for that person? What should be done? What are the guidelines? Hello?
So everybody needs support, but sometimes it's really hard to recognize when you yourself may be traumatized or you are struggling. And so, as you rightly say, those closest to us, those within our support circles, they are usually going to be the first ones recognizing that we are not ourselves, right? And, you know, locally, we do have a sort of taboo when it comes to mental health and dealing with mental health issues, where sometimes we don't like to talk about it, or we believe that if we talk about it, it may make things worse. We all know and see the signs of depression, but there's generally a fear that anytime people are depressed, they may become suicidal. They may have suicidal ideation. They may think about harming themselves or just wish to not be alive. And we believe if we talk about it, that may make matters worse.
Right.
But the reverse is actually true. You know, as we talk about it, as we mention, hey, you are not being yourself. This is not the version of you that I know. Sometimes just as simple as being present, being there, showing up every single day. I'm here if you need to talk. I'm listening. That could become the first step into helping someone open up. And understandably, not everybody is a professional. Not everybody knows what's the right thing to say, what's the right thing to do. Just being willing to say, let me go with you. Let's see somebody. Let's talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Religion plays a massive part in most of our lives. Something as simple as speaking to your religious elders, that can offer the first step towards help. Right? Now, we would always acknowledge, we would always recommend speak to mental health professionals as well. We have many members of the clergy and other religious denominations who are also trained in mental health.
Right.
And as Lemuel pointed out, where the Green Cross actually does trainings that assist in helping people to recognize and support those who are going through trauma and grief and all of these things. So we actively encourage members of the clergy, members of any religious organizations to come and get that training, because they tend to be the first stop on the pathway to getting help.
Correct. So now you are talking directly to priests, reverends, pundits, imams. I like that. You welcome people to have this training one-on-one so that they can now identify people that are struggling, or they would be able to see beyond and be able to counsel in a different light. I like that. Beautiful.
Correct. Also with nurses especially and doctors, because let's say your trauma starts with a physical event, an accident, as something that puts you in accident and emergency.
Yeah.
You know, we always think that doctors and nurses just cover the physical aspects of trauma.
Yeah.
But they are also going to recognize, hey, you may be in shock, you may need additional help. So
Yeah.
we also encourage them to receive the same kind of training. Treat not just the body, but treat the mind as well.
Right. You're absolutely correct because they know firsthand, they see it. And sometimes it's not just the individual that is traumatized,
Correct.
or the patient rather, but,
First responders as well.
family members, wives and husbands and children that are around, that those nurses or doctors need to know how to reach out in a certain way.
Correct.
Yes, so
Correct.
that makes a lot of sense.
And while we're on that topic, we don't always consider our first responders, ambulance drivers, emergency responders, doctors who work in accident and emergency. Remember, they are dealing with 24/7 non-stop. They themselves can start to take on that trauma. They get what we refer to as vicarious trauma. They are traumatized by seeing other people's physical traumas and emotional traumas.
You're absolutely correct. I always say that people think being a doctor or a nurse is a nice job and it's glorified, but I tell you, they take, even police officers, they are faced constantly with negative things, rather positive. They don't see smiling faces, they see people in distress, people in pain, people in hurt. And how do they also not cross that line when they go home to their loved ones? How do they not take that weight or that heaviness or that negativity and don't cross the line when it comes to their personal life? I think that is also extremely important, that we have all of these avenues that we explore, because we could be a broken people if we don't strike balance,
Especially those of us within the health professions, social workers, especially psychologists, psychiatrists, all of that. Active self-care and taking care of yourself, taking that break, focusing on your mental health and well-being goes a long way into mitigating the effects of that kind of vicarious trauma.
Yes.
Agreed. Gentlemen, we're at the point where we have to have your closing remarks. So perhaps, we could get Mr. Lemuel to share your closing remarks, please.
Okay. And well, if anything that a person takes away from what we shared today, of course, there's so many things we could dive into, and I do encourage you all to look out to connecting with us and coming out to some of our trainings, and you learn a lot, right? And also prepare you to help others as well. But 3 areas I want you to focus on: awareness, stabilization, and connection. Those are the 3 that really help with trauma, and of all various types, right? The awareness, just recognizing something is off. That's an important first step, right? So acknowledging it, noticing, hey, I need help, or something's changed, something is different. Stabilization then would be anything that helps the body and the mind settle itself. Healthily, of course, not vices, but healthily. We don't really need anything complicated. Sometimes just helping your system learn to calm down will make a big, big difference. And lastly, connection. We are not islands to ourselves. We need people. As Trinity, we love relationship, and it's very healing. And the thing about trauma is that it often isolates us from connection, and that's one of the most important parts of early support. All right, and so acknowledging, awareness, stabilization, and connection. And then once that's going for yourself, for others, for community, then we can seek out more professional help and more supports in different areas and different resources. But there is hope, right? At the end, there is always hope. There's a way out.
Yes, that is so true. There is hope. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Swain, sir?
Yes, ma'am. So, hope, as Lemuel said, there is always hope. What I would like to say, though, is that for the wider community and the audience who may be in search of professionals and mental health assistance, there is the database for mental health services created by the Ministry of Health. You can find that with a simple Google search. It is Find KTT, FINDCARE. And this is a database that allows you to search for any aspect of mental health or even healthcare that you are seeking. And it will connect you with both private, public, everything that is available locally, including hotlines and helplines such as Lifeline and all of these others. All of that can be found. We all have smartphones. We all use Google on a daily basis. It's right at your fingertips.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen. Prevention is always better than cure. Get early intervention. We have wonderful professionals. Gentlemen, I really want to thank you kindly for taking time off of your busy schedule. And I would like to continue to indulge to have you perhaps come in live. I know it's a little difficult, but really come in and let's continue to have conversations as such so that we could reach out and help people. My heartfelt thanks and gratitude, and I trust and hope we'll have further conversations where together we could educate the public. God's choices, blessings. See you soon.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome to both of you. This is where we're going to wrap things up for today. I say this to you, tomorrow is not promised. And with that, life is, and time is very precious. Use it wisely. Utilize your time, and the beauty of doing that is we are in control. We are in control of the choices that we make. The decisions that we make will certainly tell us about our tomorrows and the tomorrows of our loved ones as well. All right, so if you know you're in a place where you're just not right, things are not right, don't waste your precious time. Get help, get early intervention. Prevention is better than cure. Please, my friends, do what is right at all times. Respect the law of the land. And here's reminding you again that with God and only God, all things are possible. I am Zelisa Budu Singh Rupani. Thank you so much for choosing us here at Real TV, bringing reality to you. Great programming, so do stick and stay with us. Thanks for choosing us. Have yourselves a great day. See you soon.